Hello students, welcome to my class. I am Keerti and today we are going to study about topic evolution, right? And in evolution we are going to study about various theories that are given by scientists over the period of time to support this process of evolution, right? So what is evolution? We already know that these evolutionary biology deals with the study of life forms on earth because we are living on earth, right? So we have concerned ourselves with earth. What type of vegetation is found in earth? What kind of animals are there? What kind of plants are there, right? So to understand these changes, the changes that are occurring in the flora and fauna, right? Flora means all the vegetation that we are talking about that are there on earth. And fauna means the total subtotal of all kind of animals and humans, all kind of animals that are there on earth, including human beings. Because we already knew we humans are also animals, but we are a more specialized one. We live in a civilized society. We have a civilized way of living. That's why we are different from the rest of the animals. So this evolutionary studies is actually done to understand the changes that occurred during the flora and fauna. And that too not for a very short period of time, for a very large amount of time. Like here, we are talking about millions of Earth. The changes that have occurred over the millions of years on our Earth, right? So we must understand, we must have an idea about what is the origin of life, how the life has started on Earth, right? So this chapter deals with all kind of these curiosities that we have, how this evolution has taken place, what are stars, what is universe, how the first universe was formed, right? So we know with our naked eye we can see stars, right? But we are aware of the fact that the stars are living very, very, very far away from the earth. We cannot touch it. Okay. Those are living in, in a distance of light years, right? So how is it possible? Or what may be the cause of, this development of a star, how these stars are formed? How this planet in which we are living, how the planet is formed. So, some of the theories that are given to support, to figure out how it was formed. One such theory is the Big Bang theory. You have heard the term Big Bang, right? This was the first theory that was given to support that there must be a process or something might have happened from where this earth was being formed. So what this Big Bang theory suggests, right? This Big Bang theory tells us about the origin of universe, how the universe was originated, right? It says that what might have happened, that there must be an explosion, okay? A physical explosion. Because of this is explosion, the universe may have expanded, right? This what might have happened, right? That after this expansion, there was this explosion, there was some kind of expansion. Okay, the temperature may have cooled down, and some of the gases who were preliminary, the first form gases, for example, hydrogen and helium, they must have been formed. And after they have formed, some another gases must have formed, and these gases get condensed under the force of gravitation. And this condensation leads to the formation of galaxies, right? And this all, the time period that we are talking about, the process, this process that might have happened was actually 4.5 million years back, right? So this may have created the early environment of the universe. It is being said that the early environment have no atmosphere, right? So this Big Bang theory is the first theory that we know that discusses that some kind of environment after this huge explosion, some gases may have evolved, some gases may have formed, and these gases might have condensed to form a galaxy, to form an environment, right? So this explosion must have released, like we already talked about, some gases like hydrogen and helium. Okay, and the molten masses that were present on the surface, they might have released some more gases, for example, water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia, right? So, to support this statement, right, there was a scientist known as S.L. Miller. He created an electric discharge in the closed flask, right, with these gases and water vapor. And what this resulted? This resulted actually into the formation of amino acid. So this may considered as the stepping stone, right? This suggests that the preliminary genetic material that actually wa- was RNA, and we already know. So these type of biomolecules must have formed after these preliminary first form biomolecules that were formed using these gases, right? So next question is, after this creation of atmosphere, how the life has generated, what has happened, how the first life came into an existence, right? So it is said that the first non-cellular forms of life could have originated 3 billion years back, right? It means when this there when there was origination of this galaxy, it was 4.5 million years back. So this might have happened after 3 billion years back, right? And these cellular forms must be formed the 2 billion years ago, right? So after the creation of an atmosphere, some living life came into an existence, or living ones, living creatures, right? Some some of these scientists believe that this may have happened through the spores, right? Some kind of spores must be present there, right? Some say that molten state that was present on the surface, it must have some mud and other things that must have created the life, right? So different scientists have different proposals that how the life was created, the first life. Okay. So after this creation, after the life was created, how the life, prospered? This is the question. So Charles Darwin concluded one thing, that how many forms of life was there? They share similarities. Okay, it means that the present life shares many similarities with the life that existed million years ago, right? He gave two theories. See, this Darwin's natural selection was based on the fact that the nature will select only those individuals who have ability to thrive the present situation, right? For example, you also go through many kind of stresses when you are appearing in the examination, but only those will succeed who have overcome this fear, the fear of failing, the fear of not doing good, right? In the same way, if there is a population, the nature will select only those population who will survive better at that particular environment. And that surviving population will outbreed others, right? And it is called natural selection because individuals, those individuals that are present at that moment, that are surviving in those particular condition, reproduce more than the others. So this well fitted, this fitness that he talked about, this well suited population will mate again and again to create the kind of individual that will thrive in that particular environment, right? Okay. So there were several evidences that has given to support this theory that the existing population today we are, coming. we are sharing similarities with our ancestors. Okay, some of the present day animals, they have evolved from their ancestors. So fossils were one of them. Fossils are nothing but the hard part of life forms found in rock. For example, we as a human, we know the bone we have, the teeth we have is the hardest part of our body, right? So even after death, suppose if a dead body of someone is, you know, dumped into the ground, it is, covered with all kind of mud and all. But even after 1 month, if we want to extract the body, we will see that the bones and the teeth are not degraded, right? These bones and these teeth of ours take more than 1 month of time. It take more than the time required by the flesh of our body to decompose, right? So these fossils are also that hard part of the organisms that get deposit in the layers of the rock. So this each layer of rocks contain a different life forms, right? See, this is not something that will happen in like 1 year, 2 year. Okay, we are talking about the game of million of years. So whatever you see, like if you see a rock, it has not happened to form once, like it will form once in a year. Okay, each and every step there was a sedimentation. So suppose this is the ground layer, sedimentation is taking place continuously, right? To ultimately form a high heighted rock, right? So in each layer, some fossils of, the kind of organism that were present earlier, they will be present. So if we are going to extract this layer, if we are going to dug it off, we will find the fossils of a particular time period, right? So this formation of rock is not something that will happen in 1 year, 2 year, 10 year, 20 year. No, that is not the case. It will take like more than 100 years. For example, here we are talking about the things that might have happened like billion of years. 10 to the power 6. You can imagine at what time this might have happened. This might have taken place, right? Right? So these evidences, this evolution, this fossils act as evidence. So suppose if we dug out and we have found one kind of fossils remain of say any animal, and now we will compare at present time. So we will be able to compare some kind of similarities between these two structures, right? So there are many evidences that will show fossil is one of them. Another we can Another point is we can study the comparative anatomy, right? For example, we can use the structure of our forelimbs and we can compare it to all the animals that are present. Suppose if we are talking about the mammals, right? We already know mammals are the ones who possess mammary gland, right? So what will happen if we compared the structure of the bones of our hand to all the other mammals, like for example if we compared it with the hand of bat, right? We must have the scientists have seen various similarities in the bone structure of ours and to other animals. So we can say that these bones or we must have we must have, have an evolution. We must have come from those organisms. We have two types of evolution, right? Convergent and divergent. Convergent means different structure but perform same function. Suppose if we are talking about the bones, in case of humans, this structure is this hand is used for various purposes, but in case of bat, it will, help in the flying. And divergent evolution means the same structure will have different function. The structure is same, but the function of that particular organ or the structure or the bone that we are taking into account will perform different function, right? So the similarities, again, a different kind of evidence we can see. This similarity can also be studied through this DNA protein structure, right? What kind of bases are found in humans? What kind of bases are found in related apes, right? Monkeys. So what are the protein structures that are found in us and in these monkeys? So the basic structure will have similarities. Okay. Of course, this will have, some kind of modification. It will not look exactly the same, but we can derive a common inference using these evidences. Okay. This another, you know, example or evidence is given by Darwin itself. When he was in the Galapagos Island, he has observed that there were small blackbirds, which we later on to honor him called as Darwin finches. He has seen that these group of birds will have different beaks. Okay, though they have similar species, the beak structure was different. It actually depends on what kind of food they were having, whether they were eating the seeds or they were eating the flesh. So this process of evolution of different species in an area, starting from a point, is called adaptive radiation, right? This origin was same, but the beak get transformed according to the type of diet that they were having. So this is known as adaptive radiation, right? There were also evidences of biological evolution. That is nothing but the natural selection thing. So whatever the changes our cell is undergoing, our body is undergoing, is to adapt with the present environment, right? So these are all evidences that support the process of evolution. That the first origin was very primitive, and over the period of time, it has evolved into a very complex structure because the need of the environment get changed, was changed, is changed, and will continue to change in the future. So, how these variations, what kind of variation is there? Whether there is mutation or there is gradual variation. Mutation is the change in the DNA, right? This is a molecular level thing. If this is the DNA, if we are going to compare the DNA of the two organisms, right? So suppose if we consider this point and this part in DNA, we are going to study the both the parts, that what is the codon information of these two DNA, right? So the concept of mutation was given by Hugo de Vries, right? These variation sources are multiple. For example, mutation that we talked about, the change in the DNA constituent, some kind of gene flow might have happened, right? For example, some population is living here. This is terrestrial population. And when this population has gone to, live and reside on rock, so this population will have change in the DNA content. Of course, that will happen in a very, very, very long period of time to support the life on the rock environment above the rock, right? So these all suggest that there are changes that are taking place continuously when the environment is changing. So this is a stepway process, how the primitive life, you know, primitive life leads to ultimately the formation of humans, right? So this chapter was all about the theories that are given to support their views. Scientists have given so many theories to support their views. Some was accepted and some was not, right? For example, Darwin's theory were accepted. The mutation theory by Hugo de Vries was accepted, right? So I hope I'm able to give you an idea about the evolution, why it has happened, right? So in this session, we have talked about the evolution, how the Big Bang theories lead to ultimately formation of universe, how the first environment was created, right? So I guess I'm able to clear your doubts. Even if you have any doubts regarding this session or any doubts about the chapters that we have talked in the past, you can contact me through my urban profile, right? And we will study this chapter in a more detailed way when we are going to study each and every theory one by one, right? Till then, you can go through these slides. I request you to go through your NCRT book and we will meet in our next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.